Israel's ground invasion into Lebanon that we told you about a few minutes ago on the show, it appears to have officially started in a moment unlike anything we've seen in decades. This is a live look here at Beirut, as the whole region is just teetering on the edge.
Several Israeli airstrikes have hit the southern suburbs of Beirut. A series of loud explosions were heard across the city just after midnight.
You're looking at heavy artillery fire in border towns. Local media here are already reporting that they can see tanks in a town called Ramish in southern Lebanon.
There was intense Israeli artillery fire into villages on the other side of that border where Hezbollah forces, according to the Israeli military, have been positioned.
Let me just tell viewers that Yemen's Houthis have just said they will escalate their military operations in response to the Israeli attacks over the weekend.
Izdihar Al-Thawani told me she thinks if Israel does invade, it will only make Hezbollah stronger because guerrilla war is the group's specialty.
And so we're entering a very, very tricky phase of this. I think the U.S. will be pushing for ceasefire. I think the Israelis will not be listening. To the extent to which this goes beyond the kind of surgical strikes that we've seen recently, I think international opinion will quickly turn against the Israelis.
Hezbollah's Naim Qassem, who currently serves as the group's Deputy Secretary General, has released a video statement, which we're now going to listen to.
We are going on because we have the hope and we trust Allah Almighty to be victorious. We are the people of jihad. His priority, top priority, was Palestine and Jerusalem within the Islamic and national unity. Those who are dreaming of liberating Palestine from the Zionist entity.
Why do I stand for Israel? Because Israel is the most legitimate ethnic group in the region with evidence, overwhelming evidence to relationship to that land.
Yeah.
Omar and the Muslims have been trying for the past 1,400 years to delegitimize and annihilate the Jewish people from that land. And they hate it so much that Israel is showing resilience and strength. You ask Omar if he's sad. Omar is mourning. Hassan Nasrallah is his hero. So let me tell Omar and his likes, listen, you cannot rewrite history. And when I speak, I don't only speak on my own authority, I speak on the authority of the universe, that Iran and all its proxies and the Muslim world behind it.
No, this is a very, very serious conversation.
Back off. There is going to be only the language of fire. And you can sit here in the West pretending to value the Western ethics. You are a liar with a false identity and your religion. And your entire population.
There is nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There's nowhere we will not go to protect our people and protect our country.
And of course, the United States has counseled Israel and told them to keep it limited in both scope and geography because they're concerned that this could escalate into a much bigger war.
These U.S. officials tell us at this point they are not seeing any indication that Iran, the regional backer of Hezbollah, is preparing to join the fight. But Iran could mobilize its forces quickly. We have seen the Iranians attack Israel directly once already this year, something that had never happened before in the 40-plus years of confrontation between Israel and Iran. And the deep, deep concern is that what is starting in a, quote, limited way on the Lebanese border tonight could turn into something far, far bigger.
Shalom, Ka'ala Yahweh Bashem Hashai, Bashem Kabardash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, with the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to go into the recent news of what's going on over there in the Levant. And in regards to Israel, the land of Israel, I should say, or the Israelis, also biblically known as the Edomites, and specifically the top tribe of Edom, the Amalekites, who again call themselves today the Israelis, have started the ground offensive and invasion of Lebanon. Okay, we just watched a collection of videos showing the bombardment of Lebanon, and right here you're seeing the first screenshots of the military of the Israeli, or should I say the Edomite military, invading into Lebanon. Now, we also seen at the end of the first couple of clips that the Lebanese army is pulling back, and chances are it's because of what the damages that they've taken from all the bombardment. Now, this isn't going to stop. The only time that this is going to stop is when the Messiah returns. Okay, it's go from here on out, Akim. This is not going to go anywhere but further into prophecy. And I'm sure you all know this, but we're never going back to normal again. This is the new normal, which is continual chaos until the Lord comes back. Okay, and this is because, as Apostle Tahar coined this year, it's the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, and we are fastly approaching that reality. Okay, with all things going on right now, from the World War III kicking into high gear over there in the Levant, which soon is going to expand. You already heard about the Pentagon deploying more troops than what it's already deployed to the Middle East because of Lebanese invasion. It says Pentagon sends additional troops to the Middle East. The additional forces, which one official placed at between 2,000 and 3,000, will bolster security for the 40,000 U.S. troops already in the region and help defend Israel, officials said. So this prophecy is coming to play. Right? What prophecy is that? Well, it's this one, Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into the land barren and desolate, and his face towards the east sea, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. This ultimately is talking about how the Lord is going to take the military out of America, Babylon the Great, where the current true biblical Israelites are dwelling. That's the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, and also anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline. Now, let me actually correct that. Us Israelites, we're in every country, but predominantly we are found here in Babylon the Great, America. And why is that? Well, again, prophecy. The Lord said that he would scatter the Israelites around the earth to the other side of the planet. Okay, and this is us living that prophecy. Now, let's go and read this. This is Psalms 10 and 5. His ways are always grievous. His judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. And that's ultimately talking about these Edomites, okay, and how they've now started a war of aggression against their neighbors there in the land of Israel, right? We've seen what they've done to the Palestinians being the children of Ishmael, right, and then Lebanese, same thing. They are the children of Ishmael and Aram, right? Aram being one of the sons of Shem, okay? Now, they're not going to stop at those two countries, okay? They're going to continue to go on, like I said, until the Messiah shows up. Who is going to stop them? Now, what we're going to see, as prophecy tells us in 2nd Ezra, that Iran, along with other Arab nations, will come and attack and cause damage to these Amalekites, but ultimately the Edom is going to basically return the attack and bring a great destruction on these Arab nations. Now, the reason I say this is not going to stop is because when you see this map here, this is what's known as the Greater Israel that the Bible speaks of, will belong to us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, when the Lord himself, the Most High Father, takes us back into this land by his right hand, that being the Messiah, whose true Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Now, this is something that the Lord is going to do for the true Israelites. But these devils that live in the land of Israel today, the Edomites that have stolen that land, they are trying to fulfill this prophecy themselves and basically trying to evict everybody from these areas. This is why over the last decade plus, America, along with the Western nations, who are basically the dogs of Amalek, these Israelis, have waged the war in this area. Also, that way, the Greater Israel Project that the Israelis are planning to fulfill themselves can take place. Now, as we just read here, the Pentagon is sending over 2,000 to 3,000 more troops. Well, this number is only going to rise up. And here, real quick, is the false president of Babylon the Great, not knowing what the fuck he's talking about. Right here, it says a reporter asks him if he's going to send more troops to the Middle East, and what does he say?
Mr. President, will you deploy more U.S. troops to the Middle East?
No, he says, and then the very next day, this happens. And why is that? Well, that's because that is not the president, okay? Though he may have the title and, they swept his ass into office, he's simply just a figurehead. He's a puppet head for this banana republic which America has turned into. You see, it is actually ran and controlled by the Israelis. Again, the top Edomites, which is why they are in charge of all the westernized world, okay? Regardless of how greatly despised they are, because it's a spiritual power that they have been given over their brethren. Now, like I said, the reason why we know that those are the Edomites over there in the land of Israel today is because they fulfill the prophecy of the Edomites. Okay, just as us Negro, Latino, Native Americans fulfill the prophecy of the Israelites. Right? The Bible makes it very clear that these curses upon us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, would be a sign unto us and all the world who the true children of Israel are. The only problem with that is that the devils that control this world right now have done a very clever work of miseducating the populations of the world regarding the Bible. This is why nobody really talks about the Bible, right? But ultimately it's the will of the Lord, because the Lord does not want this truth to get to all the other nations, because the Bible is only for you Israelites, you Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, okay? Because it's our ancient history and talks about our future and our blessings that we're going to get. Now, let's read this prophecy which foretells that the children of Edom, the Edomites, who today are known as the Caucasian and Israeli races, would ultimately steal the land of Israel. Okay, this is Ezekiel 36:5 in the GNT translation. It says, I, the sovereign Lord Yahweh, have spoken out in the heat of my anger against the surrounding nations, and especially against Edom, with glee and contempt. They captured my land and took possession of its pastures. And as it tells you here, right, the Lord makes it very clear that Edom will be in possession of the land of Israel in the end times. And again, when you look at all the signs, you look at all the things that are going on, compared to what the Messiah told us to be on the lookout as signs of his second coming, right? The end of this age, the end of Esau's kingdom. Well, who is in that land right now, and who's ultimately taking it all for themselves? Well, that would be none other than these Israelis. And that means that if the Israelis are still in the land of Israel and appointed it into their own hands, which they did, when you go to the Bible timeline, it tells you here, after World War I, there was something known as the Balfour Declaration, right? Basically, Balfour, it tells you here, says the declaration was issued by the British government during World War I, declaring the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, then an Ottoman region with a minority Jewish population. Now, author Balfour, this guy here, would, for the most part, being lobbied by this guy here, an Amalekite, right? He was Nathaniel Rothschild, I believe. I forgot his first name, but basically he was a Rothschild. And for the most part, he got this guy, the ex-prime minister, to write up this declaration to give the land of what they refer to it as Palestine, really it's the land of Israel, to the Ashkenazi Khazarian Edomites, okay, who had since 720 AD have taken on a stolen identity, that of the heritage of the true Israelites, the so-called Negroes. Well, during this time, 1917, they wrote the law that they would get the land, and they hence fulfilled prophecy and appointed the land of the Lord into their own hands. This is Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Like I said, Akim, there's going to be no rest from here on out. It's going to be go, go, go. There's going to be prophecy playing after prophecy. We're going to start seeing the emergence of Jacob's trouble, to the point where you're not even going to have to ask if it's Jacob's trouble. You're going to see all the shit coming down on us. And why is that? Well, because you have the coming false election on November 5th. I think we got like 36 days or something, a little bit over a month left. There's going to be so much vitriol and violence and crazy events going on, not only from the Edomites that know they're losing this empire, to the citizen minorities in this country believing that now is their time to rise up, right? And also the criminal refugees that they led into the land of Babylon, again fulfilling another prophecy, how the Lord said that he would fill the land of the Babylonians with men like grasshoppers, right? Well, all of these things are coming together, all for the bad. Okay, this is not going to be a feel-good story, right? We're going to start seeing. Oh, and did I forget the strike that's going to affect the east coast of America, right? It's not going to affect California for the most part, because California went through the strike, I think, like a few years back, right? They're different unions. Well, that being said, America, Babylon the Great, as it's known in the Bible, is in for a hell of a time, literally. Okay? And what that means is that, to get through what is coming, you're going to need more than just hard work and smarts of preparing and prepping and getting all your stuff to make it past this. What are you going to need to get past this? Well, you're going to need to have a spiritual hedge around you. You're going to need to be on the Lord's side, so that way he could send his protection to you in these wicked ass times. This is Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So there you go, Akim. This is the beginning of the end, right? With all things going on, right? You had, and then you had the Pact for the Future just last week, right? Which would basically mandate the mark of the beast for all the participating nations. Yeah, this is it, Akim. We have only a short time left, man. So if you were waiting for a time to get right with the Lord, this is it. You know, trust me, I've been through this. I've been through the learning, the breakdowns, the rituals and everything. You cannot do this in a day. You cannot do this in a week. You cannot do this in a month, or even in a year. You need more than that to really get a good grasp on these breakdowns. Now, some of us won't even get that. It does tell us that some will come in at the last moment. But again, that's all the Lord's will. That being said, if you've been sitting on the fence, that now is the time to really, you know, get into gear and, you know, take care of your shit. Because again, you're going to need to understand the true name of the Lord, the true name of the Messiah, which again, it's Yahweh, which is Hebrew for he is, for the name of the Most High God, and the name of the Messiah, his only begotten Son, that being Yahweh Shai. That's the true Hebrew name of the Messiah, right? Yahweh Shai is Hebrew for he is salvation. It's not Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah, none of those names, right? Those are false names set up to trip you up. Again, Acts 4:12 tells us there's only one name under the sun that we must call upon to be saved. Okay, and only the elect are going to call upon that name, right? Like Apostle Tahar said, right? If you are an elect, you will not be calling on Jesus. Okay, so either way, okay, hopefully this video was edifying. I'm sure we're going to be in store for a lot of crazy ass news coming from this invasion, plus all the other crazy things that we're seeing going on now due to the invasion of Lebanon, the invasion of America by the criminal refugees, the ridiculous false elections that they're trying to push. We all know Trump's going to win because he's the Hitler of Amalek's staged event, right? They're gonna make Trump appear to be like the Messiah, and people are gonna believe he's gonna change it when all along his ass is in the pockets of Amalek, right? And on top of that, he's an Edomite. So what does the Bible tell us? Never trust our enemies. Alright, Akim, hope this video is edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Kodesh. Shalom.